All right, breaking this hour, everyone. Bill Clinton is hitting the campaign trail, stumping for Hillary Clinton in his first solo appearance in the 2016 race. Watch him here in Nashua, New Hampshire today.
I do not believe in my lifetime anybody has run for this job at a moment of great importance who was better qualified by knowledge, experience, and temperament to do what needs to be done now to restore prosperity, to deal with these human issues, to make us as safe as possible.
Hillary Clinton is even including her husband in new advertisements out today, which come just days after Donald Trump slammed Bill Clinton for his past improprieties, dubbing him one of the great abusers of the world.
She wants to accuse me of things, and the husband's one of the great abusers of the world? Give me a break.
All right, so will Bill do more harm than good for Hillary? Or will her female voters even care? Joining me right now, progressive radio host Leslie Marshall and former advisor to George W. Bush, Brad Blakeman. Good to have you guys back. Brad, you know, he's out there in New Hampshire right now, a state where it's kind of feeling like deja vu again. I mean, you got Bernie Sanders out there coming seemingly out of nowhere, a little like Barack Obama did in New Hampshire back in 2008. He's neck and neck with her. And I got to say, there's some Clinton fatigue in New Hampshire. So let me ask you, is Bill going to help her overcome any of this fatigue, any of this Bernie Sanders success, or is he going to make it worse in your view?
Well, I think, look, Hillary Clinton is on her way, assuming she's not indicted, to the nomination. Bernie Sanders may be an irritant, but he's not going to be able to stop her. So Bill Clinton obviously would be a help. If you're going to win the nomination anyway, why not have Bill out there? Because the base of the Democratic Party loves him. And Donald Trump attacks him at his peril, because we know that Bill Clinton polls higher than Donald Trump and even polls higher than Hillary. So Hillary has to be careful how she uses Bill Clinton, because remember, there's a lot of nostalgia out there. People love Bill Clinton, but not necessarily like Hillary Clinton.
But is there a feeling among some of the Democratic base, Leslie, that this is a twofer? I mean, you elect Hillary and you get Bill, and is that what he and she are trying to play into right now?
No, I really don't think they are. I think it's very important that Hillary make it clear that she is running, not her husband. But I don't think that this is anything unusual. I mean, both Bill and Hillary have campaigned for other Democrats in the past, and we see Republicans and Democrats campaign who are big names and popular with their base for their party, especially before a nominee is announced. And especially when your husband was president of the United States, he is so well liked, and accurately so, that he is polling higher than she is and higher than Trump is. He is a very brilliant man, an eloquent speaker, and right now she needs to lock in that nomination, which I think she pretty much has.
But you are
this
pointing
is
out something
on
important.
the cake.
That this is a delicate balance for her, right? That she runs a slight risk here because he is so popular, and she can't have him being perceived as the one that's running here. He just needs to be the aid, the complement, the icing, if you would.
I agree with you there, but remember, right now, she is gunning for the nomination. Once that is her position as the Democratic nominee, which I believe it will be, I don't think that we will see former President Clinton in the same light that we're seeing him now, because then she's going to be going for the masses, some Republicans and certainly independents and those who don't want to subscribe to any party politically.
Brad, where does it hurt her in your view? I mean, South Carolina, he was challenged there because of the comments he made back in 2008. Is that a state where maybe having Bill Clinton by your side is not going to be as advantageous?
Yeah, absolutely, and we just have to look back to 2007 and 2008 and see that in some instances, Bill Clinton was not a help to her at all. So you have to be very selective on how you use Bill Clinton. I agree with Leslie that it's probably better to use him in the selection process than in the general election process. And they just have to get over this hump now. But the big cloud hanging over Hillary Clinton, of course, is this FBI criminal investigation.
You mentioned the FBI criminal investigation, but one of the other clouds out there, one that Donald Trump keeps bringing up, and all of us have talked about before on this show, of course, are his previous indiscretions, and you know, at least in the case of Paula Jones was an $850,000 settlement for sexual harassment. How much of this is going to be in focus, in your view, Brad, in New Hampshire right now as a result of him campaigning?
Well, it's a real danger because, again, just look at his popularity alone, and we have to realize that there's a whole school of voters who were not even alive at the time Bill Clinton was president. So they're not up to speed on what Bill Clinton has done, nor are they going to be in that position to make that kind of judgment.
Well, if they're not up to speed and they're not going to make a judgment on it, then, you know, maybe it's not going to hurt her, Leslie.
I don't think it's going to hurt her because, honestly, I think the educated voter, quite frankly, doesn't care about any spouse's past, whether it's Bill Clinton or whether it is a hot supermodel on the arm of Donald Trump. And in my opinion, nor should they. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If my husband has done something improper, immoral, etc., I should not be held accountable for his actions.
Yeah, but
although
it's not
we may be one biblically, we are not the same person,
right,
even if we're in the same profession.
I think in this particular case, people are saying she's being held accountable because she was part of the machine that destroyed the women that came forward, Leslie, which is different than just staying by your man.
Absolutely.
All right, we got to take a quick break.
Go
ahead. No, Leslie, answer.
I was just going to say. Okay. I was going to say, I don't feel that, again, what do we have that is fact versus what we have that is allegation or somebody that is blogging and opining? I don't feel that Hillary Clinton tore apart women. I do feel that sometimes we have a conversation somebody claims happened and the only two people that know what took place, for example, will be in one example, Juanita Broderick and Hillary Clinton. So I think that's a very dangerous slope for us to go on.
Well,
when we're looking
and you know,
at
look,
who could
the
be our
reality
next
is, and you guys have said this before, you know, it actually puts her in the position of being a victim, which actually she plays pretty well. I mean, when we've seen her popularity skyrocket, it's when she's been in that position that shows America a softer side of her. Anyway, Leslie and Brad, stay with me. We got lots more to talk about, but I got a market that's selling off here, off 390 points there. All right, Donald Trump releasing his very first television ad, shelling out over $2 million a week in the early states of Iowa and New Hampshire with this ad campaign starting tomorrow. Take a listen to it right here.
The politicians can pretend it's something else, but Donald Trump calls it radical Islamic terrorism. That's why he's calling for a temporary shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until we can figure out what's going on. He'll quickly cut the head off ISIS and take their oil. And he'll stop illegal immigration by building a wall on our southern border that Mexico will pay for.
We will make America great again.
All right, this ad comes just months after Donald Trump said he didn't need to advertise. So why is he changing his tune right now? And will these ads actually sway some undecided voters? Leslie Marshall and Brad Blakeman are back with me for analysis. Wow, Brad, I'll start with you. He's promising a lot there. A very interesting commercial, even if you listen to the tonality of it with the music, as it starts off with all this scary stuff and how he's going to fix it all. And at the very end, he says, we'll make America great again. And it's a very uplifting cadence of music that suddenly turns more harmonic. What do you think people are going to react to? How are people going to react to this? Will people believe this and believe him?
Well, those who seek to believe him will believe him, and I think he appeals to a very small part of the electorate, which is the general population, but more importantly, I think he appeals to a small population of the base of the Republican Party. And let me say this, I find it cartoonish, actually, and the production value is very poor for a presidential candidate, and the $2 million he's putting in a week is a drop in the bucket to what it should be. He should be spending much more money than that. But again, he mocks the fact that he hasn't spent any money at all compared to the other candidates, and he's still number one.
I do want to share with you, I mean, you mentioned the production value, and you're saying that it's poor for a presidential candidate. We have gotten some analysis from PolitiFact, which basically fact-checked all the video, and what they learned was that this video where he's talking about the Mexican wall is actually video from Morocco, I believe. So that's according to PolitiFact. All right. So Leslie, That said, I mean, he's out there advertising now with a big spend in these critical states. Is it enough to put him over the hump? Is he going to secure the Republican nomination in part based on this new ad campaign?
Not based on this new ad campaign. I mean, we have to look at, there are three schools of thought as to where's the support and the approval coming from for Trump. And, you know, he's hoping it's coming from those loyal who are actually going to vote for him and make him the nominee. I think this does two things. One, it shows that he's serious about this. This is no longer a reality show. And two, I think it's very risky because Brad, you and I have agreed last segment and this segment so far. This is scary. Most of the Republicans that I know don't agree with, may even like Donald Trump. There's a lot to do with his celebrity here, that level, that cult of personality. But there are many Republicans and most Democrats, but Republicans that do not agree with what he's saying. He has said, let Putin handle ISIS. Now he's saying he'll cut off the head. This is just empty promises. And the American voter, Republicans especially, are smarter than this. I don't think this is going to help him at all.
Brad, Leslie makes a valid point there. A lot of Republicans don't like him. You stressed that he's going to be challenged on a national level if he secures the nomination. In your view, though, will he get the nomination to begin with?
He will not. And I think he doesn't appeal enough to the base of the Republican Party, the broad big tent that the Republican Party has. And more importantly, what's good in of selecting somebody who's unelectable? I don't think he's going to appeal to women. I don't think he's going to appeal to independents. And that's two voting blocks that are must-win for Republicans. Yeah, I think Marco Rubio has a much better chance of not only being selected by the party, by being elected by the people, because he has broader appeal than a lot of the candidates who are still in the race.
Who do you think is the hardest candidate, Leslie Marshall, for Hillary Clinton to beat on the Republican side?
Right now, Ted Cruz. Right now,
all right, I'm going to jump in.
President
Obama just speaking on the